Welcome to another week of racing here at the Great Race Place. And Gino Bacola, welcome to another special edition with another carryover. I think this is back-to-back weeks, Gino.
I think we've had 4 of these so far throughout the meet where we've had to open up the week early with a carryover preview that we were doing. So almost like half of the times they've been racing at Santa Anita so far, we've had a nice pot to dive into for Friday. This week with the double carryover, we're going to be already starting at about $200,000 with the carryover. So we got $198,000 to start with. There's also a Sunset 6 carryover of $69,000 to start with. And we're going to look at the 3 races from Santa Anita. That will be half of that sequence. The other 3, the final from Gulfstream Park. So gosh, another week where we start out with some big money to shoot for. And we know we're getting excited because next week is the really big weekend, or one of the really big weekends at Santa Anita, with Big Cap, with Kentucky Derby points up for grabs, with a bunch of big graded stakes races. Let's make sure we have a big bankroll for next week.
Georgie boy, welcome back. And the carryover, they're expecting the pool to reach about 1.3 million. So we got a lot to talk about today, my friend.
This could be one of the biggest carryovers that I've seen in possibly in years. This is a huge, I can't remember it being this huge. It's definitely worthwhile. And I looked, like 2 things stuck out at me when I looked through the whole card. 1, it was hard to find a single. And 2, it was hard to find a name that Skippy can mess up. So the 2 things that stuck out to me in the card, Gino.
The captain got into the winner's circle recently.
Did it, bro.
Shout out to Captain Chuchi. Skippy, how's everything going on your end?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah, the names look like I could pronounce them all, so I think we're good there. I tell you what, it's a tough sequence. Like you guys said, it's tough to come up with a single, and it's going to be tough, but that's what it's all about. And if we're lucky enough to hit it, we're going to get paid. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Captain Chuchis is not in today, unfortunately. And Gino Bacola, I'm going to try to stay on as long as I can. I think I might be having difficulties once again with the computer, but 9 race card. We start at 12:30, and the start of the pick 6 starts in race 4. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, you were a little bit delayed. It's like magic. As soon as we start the show, then Chappie's connection gets a little bit lost, but we can get things rolling. And I completely agreed with the sentiment of both what George and Skip were kind of pointing at. You don't immediately look and see a bunch of big fields, but they're all really tricky. Every race, you're like, 2, 3 deep, 4 deep, even maybe in this small field. You're trying to map it out. Like, you don't really love anyone. It's hard to have the real strong opinion. Georgie, let's get things started with you in race number 4. We've got Calbred Maiden 20s going a mile on the dirt in here. And right off the bat, small field, right? But you look and there might be 3 horses that you need to use on the ticket. How do you want to set things up to start?
Yeah, I mean, every now and then I get complaints from people. Oh, you got small fields. This 5-horse field is impossible to come up with I can narrow it down to 2 that can't possibly lose. It's so wide open. Coming in with the best last thoroughgraph number, I like to use the thoroughgraph numbers, is actually number 5, Oswald.
Yeah.
Oswald. And then, you try to read into Chanel's theory, thinking just ran the best race of his life, a really nice second. He worked a bullet after that, and maybe they said, you know what? Let's try him. He's in such great form. Let's try him in the big leagues at Santa Anita. So they bring him over here. I think he's got a big shot. The 4's only race earned the second best thoroughgraph number in the race, so he can improve dramatically. The 7 and 5 shot comes into this with the worst number in the race. Yeah, it's just a crazy toss-up. It's only 5, and so I'm tempted to use them all in my ticket if I can, because I just can't decipher this race well.
And what's tough to Skip is the horse who's the 7 to 5 morning line favorite, Bandolero, just had a race where had a slow start, completely missed the break, and got defeated in that race by Bossing Mo to the outside. But Bossing Mo isn't quite as quick early on. And if you look at the 5 horses individually, the only one that we've really seen show any speed is the one, Bandolero. And I think by default, that might be why he's the shortest price on the morning line, just because we at least know he can get out of the gate a little bit, and we're not even really sure that with the rest of these horses quite yet.
Yeah, you're right. And, this horse gets first-time Lasix. I like it stretching back out. My thought process here was I'm going to use the 2 that have gone the distance. The 5 went a mile last time. I know it was at Turf Paradise. Came back to work well. They're shipping it over here. Bred to get the distance. I'm going to use the 1, the inside speed. Like you said, it bobbled at the start last time. It wasn't off real good from the rail. I think they're gonna go from the rail. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Probably be in front, and if not, they're gonna hold that position. First time Lasix. I was gonna just go 1, 4, 5 to start things off. I thought about singling the 1, and I'm like, I can't do it. I want to be alive after the first race and take my chances after that. But it's a tough race, 5-horse field, and I'm going 3 out of the 5, and it's very easy. Like Giorgio said, you could go all, and that way you get out of the race.
I'm going to probably go 1, 2. Like, I think the 2 it might be the best horse in this race. Like, just looking at the races the 2 has run, the debut race was good. That was against Calbred Maiden 50s, and that was a fine third. And following that, they actually thought enough of this horse to step up and face tougher and face maiden special weights against Calbreds there. And that was just too tough of a group on that, in February, that race. Had a good start, but was kind of parked wide and was unlucky. If you see, was just way out wide in the 9 path. I think tried to go on with it and never had a shot. So I'll play this horse with the blinkers on, 2 sprints to a route. I think he can be a lot closer early on in this race. I'll go 1, 2, depending on the way the rest of my ticket is. Maybe the 5 Oswald, who's the horse that will come running. But he really ran in spots in that Turf Paradise race. Like, it wasn't all that impressive. It was just like, spotty, kind of loses focus, like runs again, like loses focus. He could be way behind this field early on. He's not that quick early. So it is not an easy way to start a pick 6 carryover that begins with about a $200,000 pool and could be massive on this Friday 2-day carryover. Let's turn the page to race number 5, where we have another tricky race, Skip, because in this race, you've got 5 horses that all come out of a similar race. January 31st, race 5 at Santa Anita. It's never easy when you have a bunch of horses returning from a race like that where they weren't beat a whole heck of a lot. They weren't separated by more than a couple lengths. You can look at a lot of them and make cases for different trips there. How do you want to play this race, Skip? Who are some of the horses on your radar here?
Like you said, a lot of them come out of the same race. And I've tried to catch the 1, Quantum Energy, a few times, but it always seems to run that same race. Just wants to run with like in a pack. It never wants to kind of get up there and win the race. It wants to run with horses. So I'm going to leave the 1 off the ticket. I'm going to use the other Mullins, the 2, Mayakama. This horse likes to win. Gosh, last race it ran its eyeballs out, and the only time that it was not in front was right at the wire. And I still thought that she held on that day, but she did not. The 2 is going to be on the ticket because of the speed. My price horse here is the 3. I like this horse stretching back out. That last race looked to me, it showed speed. It had a wide trip sitting out there 3-4 wide. Looked like it kind of needed the race. I don't think that horse wants to sprint. I think it wants to go the distance, especially with the breeding. So at 20-1, I'm going to put the 3 on the ticket. The other ones I'm going to use the 7. She's a Joker, comes out of that same race. Maybe needed the race for Peter Miller. I don't know who this jockey is, but he's winning at 25% somewhere, but I've never heard of him. I've never seen him ride at Santa Anita. Maybe Gino or Giorgio, you know a little bit more about him. 7's going to be on my ticket. And then the last one I'm going to use is the 9, Green Zone. Last time we did one of these shows, I put this horse on my ticket. It got scratched out of the race, but I like the breeding here. I remember the Dam All-Star Heart. Gosh, she was a good horse going long on the turf, and I'm going to put Green Zone. So I'm going to go 2, 3, 7, 9 in the second leg of the pick 6.
Yeah, I think he's the leading rider at at Delta Downs. So
he was
he's
awesome. Yeah,
he's really good.
he became the first jockey to exceed 3 million in mount earnings at Delta,
That's hard.
last year. So really good. Vicente Del Cid. I've played him many times too in like the Louisiana tracks. I actually was covering one meet. I did the simulcast from my couch for Louisiana Downs. So I did all of the pre-race analysis for all of the Louisiana Downs races, and he was very good. Wherever he would come around, Evangeline, excellent rider. So don't ever worry about him. Turf, dirt, also like both surfaces. So can win on the front end, come from behind. Just a very, very talented pilot. Georgie, how do you play this race? So you already said you're going to probably be having to spread out a little bit to start. Do you take more of a stand here, or is this another spread race for you?
No, every race is a spread race to me.
Right?
I don't know how I'm going to attack this day.
It's tough.
I don't want to. It doesn't matter if I give it away. The only single I see in my book is Biggie, 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 Can't You See in the last race.
Sure.
But in this race, another tough race. And I think that now is the time to take advantage of Del Cid, because a lot of people are going to go, who's this guy? And he's good. And he's going to be, I heard he's going to be riding here for a little while. So this is the time to take advantage before people realize that he's good, you know? And She's a Joker can certainly win this race. I mean, he was right there against Mayakaba and Quantum Energy. And they're both, like, all three of them you got to use. And I like the 11, look good, Just a Kiss winning, impressively. So, those are the ones I like the best.
Yeah, this is a very much spread race for me. I'm going to be looking. I just can't have a real strong stance with anyone. I will be shorter in the fourth, so this will kind of give me a little bit of an opportunity to spread out here. I mean, I thought the 1, 2, and 3 are all horses that you could include in your ticket. I have the 7, absolutely, and then both the 8 and the 9 are going to be in the mix for me. So I'm probably going to be 5 or 6 deep in this race, just using a lot of the horses who I think make sense, fit. I can shorten up a little bit in other races. This one was probably the most difficult race to me because the Maya Kama one was hard because she got a great trip, the trip she wanted. She has the lead. Then it looks like she was beat. And then if you played Maya Kama last time out, like 20 yards for home, she had a long neck advantage. She looked like she was the winner. And Nancy Griffith just burst at the last stretch, got her right on the wire. It was a sick beat. And now I'm just wondering if she gets that same kind of trip again, if someone's going to come and beat her. So I have a tough time trusting her. I want to move her. I want to spread out a bit in this race too. Again, not the easiest way to start back-to-back races. We move to the 6th race, $10,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 lifetime, going 5.5 furlongs, the distance in here. Georgie, let's go back to you. Another instance where you look at the field, nobody in here is going to be a massive price. You may not even have anybody that's double-digit odds, like the 2 bottom dollar is 0 for 7, but is at least coming out of some decent races at low sal. Any of the other 5, you could really see people including on their tickets and making a case for. How deep do you need to go in here, George?
So, I mean, again, my budget is not great. So I have to single somewhere, and I'm going to single here as good a race as any. If you look at again, I'm always looking at the thoroughgraph numbers, but that's not really why I'm singling here. But number 4, Manai, has run a 10, an 11. The smaller the number, the better. These guys here have been running 16, 15, 16, 17, 20, 18. So she's got the best numbers. Then you throw in the fact that really swayed me was the one I think is one of the better runners in the race is Pure Speed. The 2 is Pure Speed. 3, Pure Speed. 4 is not. The 5 is Pure Speed, and the 6 is Pure Speed. There's only one runner that can close in this race, and that's the 4. So I'm hoping for a tremendous speed duel. At this distance, Manai has run 4 times, has 3 seconds in the third. I mean, it hasn't won, but theoretically loves this distance and is going to get such a great setup, I think. And you gotta single someplace. Studi claimed this one and then ran him immediately for 20 and ran a 10. And now comes back to 10. Pace makes the race. I'm going to probably single Manai, but not not overly confident, but you got to single. For me, I got to single some places, so I'm singling him.
The only problem that you have, Georgie, is that I'm also going to be singling Mania. That's the problem that you have, because I saw a lot of the same things that you did in just watching the last two races too. So Manai was third, 2 starts back in a similar spot at this level. And that was a race where there wasn't as much speed on paper as there is in this race. This one's going to set up a lot more with all those speed horses that George pointed out. Then the February race, that was the one that I actually liked. People might look at that race and just kind of go past it. They go, oh, okay, she finished 5th, no big deal. She was 5th in a field of 13. Right. In that race, she beat more horses than are in this field, even finishing 5th. And she ran, and it was against better. And she actually had a good start. 7 of the horses in there lined up, trying to go for the lead. And she was like 3rd in between horses. She didn't end up running bad at all. It was just a big field where they were all there early on. She had to kind of negotiate some traffic, and she still finished really well against better. And this race should set up so nicely for her. So, George, I am in agreement with you. The other horse that I almost thought about using, I think if there's one horse that might be like the quickest or of the speeds, I kind of liked Toulouse de Tra the most of them, but I am going to single in the pick 6 with Manaye. Skippy, we'll hand the baton over to you. What are you going to do here in this leg?
Oh, I hope you guys are right, because we were all thinking the same exact thing.
Oh, 3 for 3. Bottoms up.
I mean, for all the reasons that you guys said, with all the speed, that last race, Gino, you said it perfectly, was not as bad as it, it looks like, okay, 3rd by a length and a half, 3rd by 1, 4 by 2, 5 by 4. It looks like it was kind of falling back. That was a good race. 13 horses in that race. Now it drops down. Studi claimed it for 10. Now it's back in for 10. The last, 2 times, it's been on the rail, 3 out of the last 6 or 7 times. It's not on the rail today. It should get a perfect setup. I'm just hoping they line up and Monet just comes and gets them, and we'll all be alive, hopefully. We're all singling the 4 Monet.
Can I just say, so a couple of people have come up to me, which, was great, saying that they've seen the show. Like, last week they say, yeah, I saw the show and that. There's a lot of handicappers in the country. And I don't want to blow my own horn or everybody's horn, but the 3 of us, the truth is, we're really good handicappers. I've been doing this for many years. Sorry. I've been doing this for many, many years. Gino, is hired by the Daily Racing Form. Skip is one of the best handicappers I know. So you people listening to us, if all 3 of us line up on this runner, you should be paying attention and use that to your advantage.
And maybe a horse that wasn't on your radar that you want to throw in. I think I was just talking, doing a preview show like this earlier on. A lot of times it's how do you use a show like this, right? Like if you may have a really strong opinion, and I'm not asking you to watch one of our shows and completely change your strong opinion, but in maybe the races where you don't have that strong opinion, that's where George may talk about a horse that wasn't on your radar, and you go, you know what? Yeah, that horse I need to take a second look at and throw in. That's always how I watch shows like this, and I'm always willing to add versus maybe completely change what you initially thought. But be a sponge, and don't be afraid to adjust if you need to. Add a couple horses when you're watching a show like this. We all land on Manaye in a race that is another small race, tricky on paper. People may be spreading out, going 3 or 4 deep, but we all feel like that's a good spot where we can shorten up, and we feel confident about singling there. Let's move to another race where it's a 6 furlong turf race, but you have so many of these horses who are coming in like off of a layoff. Like they've been going longer recently. Now they're cutting back. There's just not a lot of horses that are in current good form sprinting on the turf. And that's what makes this race as a turf sprint a little bit tricky, right? You're gauging on if these horses will enjoy the cutback, or is this going to be a starting point for them? I mean, a horse like Nesso's Last Hurrah threw in a couple of clunkers after being in really, really good form, but he's shown one of the higher ceilings. Proof he rides. At least we know this 8-year-old likes the turf sprint, can win at Santa Anita, likes 6 furlongs, and he just likes to win, period. He's 9 for 19 overall. Moving through the rest of the field, you got a wild card like Dijatari. Almost feels like this might be a starting point for this new face for John Sadler. Like maybe they're trying to get a race under him and then go a little bit longer. But you've got Cuban Confusion, who's run really good races every time here in the U.S. Mischief River has some backlash. Charlie's to Blame. George is another one, has some really good races. So this is not an easy race at all. What's your approach going to be in here, George?
Son of a Birch
right?
is the one I like the best.
So you go with one of the consistent horses sprinting on the turf, right? That's one of the few that recently has shown you good turf sprints.
But he hasn't won in like a decade or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't won in 100 years. But Florent Giroux is certainly proven he can ride. I can't leave anybody off the ticket with Cuban. I'm Cuban. I'm not leaving Cuban Confusion off the ticket. Drop him is 20-1, and his last two. He's been on a steady diet of stakes races, just one stakes race after another, and the turf is a little scary. But he's 20-1, and I don't want to leave him off. Proof He Rides just won nicely, and Jeff Mullins all he does lately is win. Every time I turn around, he's in the winner's circle. Jeff Mullins is on fire. And Nesso's last hurrah, his last two races were terrible, but one was a grade 3. Another one was the Lure. He worked brilliantly for the comeback on February 22nd. A wide open race. I hope they scratch 3 or 4 so I can narrow it down.
Skip, for me, I think I'm going to lean a lot on the 2 inside horses, depending on the way the rest of my ticket shapes up. Like 1 and 2 will definitely be on the ticket for me here because, as George was pointing out, with Proof He Rides, we've got a hot barn, and this is probably one of the horses I feel the best and the most confident that Proof He Rides will run a good race. Will it be a winning race? I'm not sure, but he usually runs very well in circumstances just like this. And you can probably look at some of his 5 furlong races. I don't think he's as good at 5 furlongs. Like he just seems like he's better going a little bit longer at this 6 furlong trip. And I'm glad, George, you pointed out the works on Nesso's last hurrah, because that was one thing that was really important for me when looking at him, Skippy. We liked this horse before. I mean, I played him going into the Eddie D. He was in excellent form at that point, and he didn't even really run all that poorly in the Eddie D that day. Reef Runner is one of the best turf sprinters in the world. I mean, he's gone overseas and he's going to run in the Dubai races over there. Like he's really, really good. And Nesso's last hurrah on February 8th was 3 deep of 4 horses in a workout and was going very well. And then on February 22nd, I thought was traveling very well. So Skip, I'll be 1-2 leaning on them. How about for you?
I wasn't going to use the 1. But after I watched the workouts, I have to use this horse. And like you said, that race in the Eddie D was not bad. Reef Runner, yellow card, that was a very good race. The last race was a grade 3. Mondego came out of there and won. This horse has been running, in the best races. So the 1 and 2 are going to be on my ticket. The 2 loves to win, loves Santa Anita, loves the distance. Jeff Mullins, nobody's hotter than him. That's going to be on my ticket. Then I'm going to use 2 more. I'm going to use Charlie's to Blame. I got to use this horse. All the turf races have been, fairly well besides the last one. Obviously, something went amiss. They gave it time after that. Now they bring it back. Seems to be training okay. And I got to use the 9. And I'm going to use the 10, Son of a Birch, too. I got to use it. I don't like the post position, but I'm going to go 4 deep. I'm going to go 1, 2, 9, 10 in here.
The horse you were mentioning too, Charlie's to Blame, when you look back through some of his form earlier on, I mean, he was very good. They stepped him up into stakes company and he beat a horse named Test Score. Test Score was a horse who we saw out here win the Twilight Derby, was 3rd in the Hollywood Derby. And then he went over and won the Pegasus World Cup turf this year. That's a really quality horse who he defeated earlier on in his career before things went a little amiss for Charlie's to Blame. So he is a classy runner as well. And if in the pick 4 or pick 5 situation, the 8 Mischief River might even be a horse that I throw in. When I look back at some of his races, he's a first-time gelding, but look earlier on in his career. I mean, that race in the Del Mar Juvenile Turf going a mile behind Artislas is not bad at all. Couple nice races at Ellis and Kentucky Downs where he ran pretty well there too. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him, but I probably have to go a little shorter in the pick 6, and I'll likely be leaning on 1 and 2 in here. Skip, let's go right back to you. Maiden special weights, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds going a mile on the dirt. I had a hard time getting outside of the inside 3, just the way that I was putting at it. I think you can also make a case for Eruption in here. Maybe you look at this race differently. I was trying to figure out between those how I wanted to formulate it because I thought they were the ones that I wanted to include. But Skip, how about for you? You going a little deeper here? Are you leaning on someone? What's your approach in this 8th?
You know, I'm gonna try to lean on someone in here. I'm glad you mentioned, Gino, the pick 4 or pick 5, because I'm gonna play one of those two. And the race we just talked about, I'm gonna be spreading more. I'm not just gonna go 4 deep. And the pick 6, I'll go a little bit lighter. The pick 4, pick 5, I'm gonna go deeper in there. You know, Winston Avenue didn't run a step last time, and I don't know why. They put it on Lasix now. Stretching out. This horse wants to get the distance. I like the last 2 workouts. The one on the 14th was with, I can't remember the other name of Baffert's.
Litmus test.
Yes.
And he outworked. He was better. Winston Avenue was better.
Exactly. And then the last work on the 23rd, it was weird. Like it was in front, then a couple of horses passed it. They grabbed hold of it. And the horses, you know, this horse started coming to him at the end and galloped out good. And you know, then they kind of pulled it up on the turn. But I think this horse wants the distance. I want to try to single because that first race at Del Mar was good. That was against So Happy. So Happy came out of there, won a stakes race. This horse was coming to it at the wire and galloped out really good that day. I think the Lasix is going to help. The 2 turns is going to help. I like the works. But I think I'm going to have to put the 6 Eruption in too. First time gelding for Michael McCarthy. He's having a great meet. That last race was not bad at all. It was right there with Cherokee Nation and Blacksmith. Blacksmith came out of there and won. Cherokee Nation kind of got going late in that race. But I like that horse. It was in between. I think the first time gelding, the work on the 14th was good. So I'm going to go 2 and 6 in here.
Lots of 2 and 6 for Skip. George, what is kind of tricky about the 2 Bafferts in here, Winston Avenue and Cherokee Nation, they seem like 2 horses that have ability. Like for both of them, we've seen talented races, but they both seem like they're a little quirky. They're not like the Bafferts yet that have put it all together. They've got the ability, but maybe the mental part hasn't kind of matched up with the ability yet. Because if you look at Cherokee Nation, almost all of his races bumped at the start, steadied it into the start, threw his head at the start, crowded at the start again last time out. He has a tough time getting out of the gate some of the times. Winston Avenue, as Skip was pointing out, you watch some of his works or you watch some of his races, he will maybe lose focus or kind of be spotty. They both have tons of ability. Neither would shock me at all in here. How do you see the Bafferts and how deep you want to go in here, Georgie?
So I'm going to go 2 deep, and one of them is definitely going to be the runner that comes in with the best last race thoroughgraph number. And that's number 6, Eruption.
Nice.
He has the best number coming into this. Plus, he's getting gelded. Plus, the connections are stellar. And another thing, I know it's already his 4th race, so it's not as important. But I love to have runners that the stud fee $10,000 and they paid 20 times the stud fee or more, which is the case here. They paid $200,000 at this one at auction. So they must have really liked him to pay that much for such a low stud fee, $200,000. And his last race, he improved dramatically in, you know, as a 3-year-old to have a number that's as good as any of these. Now he gets first time gelding, you know, that ultimate equipment change really could move him up even more. He's dangerous and he's 8-1. So you got to use him. Latitude, I don't know, started out okay, but then I don't know, went the wrong way for me. Winston Avenue is obviously good, but Bob Baffert's got another one in there, Cherokee Nation, which is the other one I'm going to use. He thought enough of this one to put him in grade 2 and grade 3s as a maiden. and he's run 7s and 7s and 8s in his thoroughgraph numbers against graded stakes company. Even though Plutarch is off the Derby trail, he's really good. He was really good that day, man. That day he really showed true grit. That was a tough race, the Robert B. Lewis. And so I'm going to use Cherokee Nation. Baffert thinks he's a graded stakes runner, and Eruption, who has nothing but upside.
And the key for me, George, with Cherokee Nation, if you look at his 2 races versus maidens going long on the dirt. Yeah. So these exact conditions, those are his 2 good races.
Yeah.
Where he's been at this level in these circumstances. When he sprinted, that was too short for him in the debut. And then he was in the Kentucky Jockey Club and the Robert B. Lewis. Well, that's maybe a little too much for him at this point, right? In graded stakes company, he hasn't really put it all together. If you just eliminate those and you go back to the races going long, a mile on the dirt against maiden special weights, they're very good. I think
even though he's through his head, he beat Blacksmith, who's fast.
Yeah. And that race was really kind of a weird race too. Robusta got the lead early and was just clear. And then there was a clump of horses where Eruption was right there with Cherokee Nation, and they were all way out of it. It looked like Robusta was going to win by like 5 lengths. And then all of a sudden that group of horses, they all started closing together. And the race, like the complexion of the race really shifted. So I think Cherokee Nation doesn't have to be so far out of it. With a better beginning, can sit much closer, sit second or third, be involved. The horse who I was on the fences about, but both of you guys like, is Eruption. So I think I'm going to include Eruption in the mix there as well. And yeah, like the 3's in the mix, the 6, the 1 and 2 are the horses who I just got to figure out what the rest of the ticket looks like, because I don't love either one of them, but I do think that both of them could be forward. Right? Yeah. Like Latitude could hold the inside position. Winston Avenue, as Skip was pointing out, finally stretching out, outworking Litmus Test. I think they may want to put him on the front end. So, yeah, another situation where the field isn't big, but we're talking about combinations of 4 horses that we may have to be using. And that's not easy to do when you're putting a pick 6 ticket together, having to think about, I might have to go 4 deep in here. So, Cherokee Nation, one that I lean on. George and Skip both kind of started with Eruption as a horse definitely to include in here. Let's round things out. Hopefully we are alive 5 for 5 as we move to the 9th. Maiden 50 claimers, 3-year-olds. They'll go a mile on the turf course in here. Let's go to you, George, to close things out. You had said that you were thinking about trying to get alive to a single. So Georgie, can't you see? Does that single go to Biggie?
It does. Before I get to my final pick, I really want to thank Chappie for his 15 seconds that he put in today in this seminar. Thank you, Chappie.
He's really been lucky the last few weeks that they pay him by the show, right? Because he gets the same as everybody. Look, there he is. I was going to say, Chappie's chilling. He's cashing checks. No problem over there for the old Chapster.
You know, I'm starting to wonder if they're doing it on purpose.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, what's going on here?
Actually, Andrew Arthur sent me a message. It was like, I'm going to cut Chappie's audio again. So just you and Georgie and Skippy take the reins, Georgie, let's close this thing out. Biggie, that's your single?
Yeah, the biggest drop in the game is maiden special weight to maiden claiming. That happened to Biggie last time out, and he showed it. He improved dramatically. He ran a 10 on the sheets. Nobody's come close. Some of these can improve second time out, like Nezha and some other ones, I guess. Dream Rider, good. Kingman was beaten by Biggie, and now draws a terrible post. So I'm not scared of him. If he beats me, then he beats me. But he's got the best thoroughgraph number by far. He has found his friends in the maiden claiming ranks, and Jaramillo and Doug O'Neill. They obviously are teaming up and killing it. So he's definitely, a single for me, and that's a wrap.
You look at some of the horses that Biggie was facing before dropping in to the maiden claiming level. Plutarch, who just pointed out, Medici just came back and ran really well against Stakes Company at a big price. Just missed, got nailed right on the wire. Classico was a lone speed situation, even last time out dropping. I mean, Irish Shuck, Intrepido, those are stakes quality horses. So Biggie was in some very tough races.
I like the fact that they gave him plenty of chances at maiden special weight.
Yeah, they didn't want to give up on him right away.
I don't like one maiden special weight and they drop him right away. They gave him any chance and just couldn't cut it. And you got to win in this game, especially the Doug O'Neill barn. You got to win. And so he's set up to win.
You talk about excuses versus reasons, right? Like I say things are reasons. My girlfriend says they're excuses, right? It just depends. But I think for Biggie, he had reasons why he didn't win against tougher company because they were good horses, right? Yeah. But at some point when you have 6, 7, 8 of them, you just got to drop. And this is the right level for him. But Skip, the one thing that concerns me a little bit about this race, why I will try to use, I think, a couple others along with Biggie, there's not that much early speed in here on paper, right? Like who's going to the lead in here? That might be one of the reasons why I'm okay with Keegman, because I do think with Maldonado up aboard and that horse drawn to the outside, I think he's going.
Right.
They showed a little more like forward, like a little more positional speed last time out. And other than him, I mean, we're looking at a bunch of horses who haven't really been close early on. Little bit of Saturday, like who's shown some kind of positional speed last time out. I like the 10's going to be on the ticket for me and the 7 Prime Artist. That's going to be the other one that I include for Leonard Powell dropping in class. This horse has faced better throughout his career so far. Now he's going to get the drop that we were just talking about where they said, hey, look, he didn't run a bad race. He was 5th. He was beaten 4 lengths that day. They could have taken another shot or two, but you know what? This is probably a more logical spot for him. He got going late. The key is, I mean, does he have enough early speed to stay close with the field like this, right? Because he seemed like he got going late. But I do think from a class perspective, he fits pretty well with this group. So, Skip, I'd love to be alive to have 4, 7, and 10 on my ticket. How about for you? Do you need to add any others, or what would you love to be alive to here?
I mean, the whole key to this pick six is obviously mapping the ticket out. Like the ticket that I've given, it's starting to get expensive, right? I've only had one single. I went 2 deep. I've gone like 4 deep, 3 deep. The ticket's starting to get expensive. So I got to figure out exactly how I'm going to map it out. But the 4 is going to be on the ticket. The 7 is going to be on the ticket. I like the last work of the 7 Prime Artist, Leonard Powell. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to use 5 horses, not on the pick 6. My pick 6, it will probably be 4, 7, maybe the 3. The 3's just the one that we don't know anything about.
The first timer. Yeah.
First timer. Right. But this horse has been working good. And I'm sure you guys have watched the works. It has that high turfy action with that long stride. This horse has, let's see.
That was kind of like his dad, Rock Your World.
Right.
Like kind of had that also.
Right. So, I mean, maybe I'll go 3 deep on the pick 6, depending maybe if I go a little bit lighter in a couple other races, but I just want to mention the horses that I like. The 3 would be 1, Biggie for all the reasons that you and George talked about. The 5, Azario, if I don't have it on the pick 6, it's going to be on my pick 5 or pick 4. First time gelding, first time Lasix. Mullins, here we go again. And then the other one is maybe the 8, Mendel's Tune. Not on the pick 6, but maybe on the pick 5 or pick 4. 8-1, first time gelding, blinkers off, dropping down in class. So I'm not too sold on Keegman. Like you said, it does have that speed. Maldonado from the outside. You know who I think might go, Gino? Is the 9, Dream Rider. Yeah. Coming out of those dirt sprint races at Los Al, it wasn't that far off the lead, a quick pace going short, stretching out now. Last time it was a step slow. So
and then Classico got the lead, right? And that race was like he wasn't going to go up and battle with that horse after that. So that would be one of the few in here that I agree with you. Like there don't look like many options for the horses to go forward. I think that's one of them. And if you maybe looked at the sequence for Friday and you saw a lot of short fields, but you listen to this sequence, take a second look at this because it is not easy. It is not going to be a sequence that even if you have a few short prices, George, they might be like a third choice, a second choice. You beat another favorite here, and they're not going to be a lot of single spots for people.
Right.
We all kind of landed on the same single randomly, but I thought this was a very tricky sequence, George.
Yeah. And I really think the pick six is the way to bet because it's such a huge carryover. But a guy came up to me last week and said, I don't like betting the pick six, but I like betting the pick five. And I, pay attention to you guys and help you. So you can use this any way you want. And a guy, I feel like Trump. A guy came up to me, big guy, crying. He was crying, George.
You're the best ever.
You're the best ever.
The greatest ever.
But anyway, but some people use it for the pick five as well, So
last week's late pick five on Saturday paid about $4,300 or so, ending with a 30-1 shot from Yak Team that was down the hill. So that was a nice sequence. And Chappie back in to make a few extra dollars here before we finish up. Yeah,
he's good. He's good.
This has been my best show ever. I mean, I crushed it today.
Absolutely. Skip, we pointed out there's also a Sunset 6 carryover.
Right.
We love playing the Coast to Coast pick 5 and the Sunset 6. Those wagers are fantastic. And we'll be back here tomorrow about 15 minutes after the last race. I think it goes at about 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. So maybe about 10, 15 minutes after that, we'll get you ready for the Saturday races. Maybe it'll be another pick 6 carryover. We could have a massive pool that we're previewing. If not, we'll be looking at the late pick 5 sequence.
Can it possibly be a triple carryover?
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. It's these types of races in this type of sequence is sometimes harder than the ones where you've got 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 and you can kind of take a stand. It's just a little harder to build your ticket here when you're like 3 by 4 by 3 by 3 in these small fields. Chappie, any final words before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I've said enough today. I mean, what else could I say?
I was going to say, we've heard so much from you. Skippy, talk to you tomorrow. Georgie, good luck with your pick 6. For everyone out there, make sure to subscribe to the Santa Anita YouTube because we do shows like this at least once a week, at least a couple times a week. You're going to have different crews previewing sequences. So make sure you're subscribed and always drop a comment in below. Let us know if you appreciate the great work that Chappie did on this show.
Gino, I want to mention one other thing before we get off.
Please.
The pick 6 starts in the 4th race. And, kind of when I see the horses on the track, maybe one really catches my eye and the other ones don't. So the ticket could change tomorrow. Maybe I'll go lighter in the first leg, the 4th race. Like, let's say the one looks real good or one of them steps out or sticks out. I might single there and go a little bit deeper because I said too many horses, in the last race. I mentioned 5. So it depends. I just got to see them on the track, but it could always change. And that way, if you're out the first leg, then you come back and you play the pick 5 or you come back and play the pick 4. You could kind of structure the ticket a little different. So, it's just a food for thought.
Yeah, that's the only race that you get to see them. You don't get to see any other. So that is really, you're right. You can narrow it down just by looks.
Right.
Only in that one race. You get one race to see the horses.
Right.
Yeah, take advantage of that opportunity. Gives you much information as possible before you put your tickets in. For Chappie, for George, for Skippy.
Chappie wants to say something.
I'm getting paid hourly, not by the word.
Oh,
okay. It's been a great show.
Yeah, I figured there was some sort of backroom deal going on because, absolutely. Thanks again for hanging out with us here, folks. Good luck tomorrow. Get involved. About a $200,000 carryover that you're starting with in the Pick 6 pool for Friday. We'll see you back here right after the races on Friday evening.